Hello and welcome to Sports Psychology Screencast 3. Today's topic is going to be on personality. Now, personality, is going to be split up into four key components. Now, what you're going to have to be able to do is as follows. You need to be able to critically evaluate the trait theory, social learning theory, interactionist theory, and then you have to be able to critically evaluate or give advantages, disadvantages of personality profiling. Now, personality, or this section today, is absolutely huge for the remainder of the course. And the reason why is there are three theories that are used throughout sports psychology for things such as aggression, things such as leadership that we'll do later, that all have the same theories. And these theories are those three theories that are in front of you now. So one there, two there, and three there. So you have to understand the kind of basics or the kind of explanations that are required for each of those. Now, before we move on, definitions of personality then. Have a quick read of those. The key kind of thing we're looking there is if you couldn't look down here, it's basically saying it's your individual differences in behaviour. So all of us have different personalities, okay? So what we're going to have a look at is components of personality when you come into the lesson. Now, personality, like the components of your personality or characteristics of your personality in sports psychology are known as traits or behavioural traits. So basically, these are things such as aggression, assertion, confidence, esteem, anxiety. Now, everyone has different levels of these, and that will kind of dictate what personality you have. Now, what we have to look at first of all is the trait theory. So this is the first approach and the first theory based around these different characteristics you have. So this theory is basically the nature approach to sports psychology, and it's saying that any personality, if you're aggressive, it's saying that you're born with it. You inherit it from your parents. Okay, and also it stays throughout your life. But the most important kind of concept from within this trait theory is, yes, it's innate, yes, it's stable and enduring, and yes, it's predispositional. That will allude back to it being innate or genetic. But the key thing here is it's saying that we're going to use this or kind of employ this trait in all situations. So it's saying if somebody is anxious, when they're walking down the road, okay, in front of with no harm whatsoever, somebody's anxious looking over their shoulder, scared of their own shadow. If you put them into a situation, e.g. a cup final, in sport, they're going to be anxious because they have that trait of anxiety. Now, it could also be that somebody has a trait of aggression. Now, they might have this aggression on the football pitch. They might have this aggression in the boxing ring. And this theory proposes that because they have that trait of aggression, because they've genetically inherited it, they are likely to show this in other situations outside of the boxing ring, for example. So I've put that one down there, and this is kind of the kind of context of a trait theory. So in this case, we're talking about personality. We could also use it for aggression theories. We could also use it for leadership theories. So first and foremost, what do I need? I need what is on that slide, and I need you to make a real big go at learning it. So what are the key focuses? Well, always your sentence stem's going to be proposes that personality is made of. In this case, we're saying innate, stable and enduring predispositions. These are the key three phrases that you're going to use that will allow you to, one, look intelligent, two, gain marks, and three, put this theory into context. Now, after you've done that, you'll need an example. I've given you that one there. So following on from that, the complete opposite theory to the trait theory is the social learning theory. Now, the social learning theory is the complete opposite because it's saying that you don't inherit, you do not get personality traits from your parents, and they don't stay the same. This theory proposes that all of our personalities are learned, and they're learned as a result of the environment in which we're in, imitation of significant others, and social reinforcement. Now, it's saying that we're more likely to imitate people who are, one, the same gender, or two, a position of authority. So what we're saying there then, you are more likely to follow your parents' dietary habits. Okay, if you're a boy, you're more likely to follow your father's dietary habits, it could be, or your father's aggression, or whatever. So what we have to do here, it's a little bit more complicated in the examples. Rather than giving just one example, we have to give two. So I've put here, there's a dysfunctional example of how the social learning theory kind of unwinds. And this one looks here at saying, a young football player watches and imitates their captain diving to try and cheat the referee. Now, the referee gives a free kick. if that person then gets a free kick, that acts as social reinforcement, or his teammates could clap him because he's got the free kick and he's calling the referee. Now, because of that social reinforcement, the SR bond, or stimulus response bond, is strengthened. Therefore, it becomes an adopted behaviour. Now, it can work the other way. Okay, a young footballer may well watch and imitate a captain that they've seen kick the ball out of play when someone's injured. Now, when they do that, for example, they saw the captain do it, the crowd clapped. They thought, right, next game, I'm going to do that. So when they do that, the crowd claps them, or the opposite team claps them, and because of that, social reinforcement, e.g. praise, e.g. clapping, that means that the stimulus response bond is strengthened towards a positive kind of application of social learning theory. So again, what are we looking for? I need you to be able to give that good, that emboldened explanation, and I also need you to be able to give an example, both positive, functional, or negative, dysfunctional. If you can do that, we're at the place I need you to be for the start of the lesson. Now, what are we going to do next lesson? Okay, basically what I'm going to be looking for is when you come into the lesson, I would expect you to be able to, we certainly have Cornell notes that would say, certainly, which theory proposes that personality is innate, stable and enduring, etc. That's your Cornell note, nice and easy. So you're going to have two key terms that you're making notes on: trait theory, social learning theory. However, there should also be a Cornell question based around the examples. Okay, so this was you might lead it with, give a functional example of the social learning theory, and this is something you would need to do. So the technical terminology in this section is tough. You need to take time to commit it to your memory. Please make sure you do. When you come in the lesson, we'll be looking at like kind of video clips of different types of things. I'll give you a couple of stories on these, and also we need to look at how the trait theory has two different theorists within it, or two different approaches within it, and we have to look at how you use sporting examples with those. So that'll be the lesson on Tuesday. Please make sure you get this done in advance and that you're reading over it, because these definitions are tough. Thank you very much.